Hey everybody, welcome back to another video where I walk you guys through the Lead Indicator software and get you guys running so you can start deploying your own AI assistants. Last video, I went over call transfers, just a quick little video. This video is going to be a little bit more in-depth and probably a little bit longer because we're going to be going over how to make a custom tool, mapping references, and everything like that. So let's first start by going into your assistant. Next, you're going to want to go to Tools and Abilities. And the custom tool that we're going to be making today is a custom tool that creates a conversation summary and fills a custom field with the conversation summary so it can be referenced in an SMS or an email or however you want to use it. What you want to do is create a tool, say custom, and unique name, we'll do conversation summary. Description, what does the tool do? When should the assistant use it? What's the reasoning behind it? Call this tool at the end of every conversation with the user to the purpose of this tool is to record a conversation summary in order to be referenced at a later date. Now this endpoint URL, what you're going to want to do is you want to open up another tab and go to automations. You're going to want to create a workflow, start from scratch, and then wait for it to load. I'm going to name this custom tool conversation summary, and then add a trigger. What you want to do is inbound webhook. And then you're going to want to go down to this URL, post get, and this is going to be the endpoint URL for the tool to call. The best way I've ever had this explained to me is imagine you're at home and you just had a great conversation with your dad and you have to send a letter, because this is pre-technology, to your sister explaining the conversation you had with your dad. This endpoint URL is like the address that you put on the envelope so that it knows where, so that the postman knows where to send your letter or the information. Next, what we need is the parameters. This is going to be what information do you want to include inside this letter. So if you want the name, this is just going to be conversation summary. And the description is going to be the summary of the conversation with the user. Now this is going to be the data that's included inside the letter. This is where you're going to send the letter. And this is where you're going to receive the letter. And you can see the data inside the letter with the mapping reference, which we'll get to in a second. What you're going to want to do is save those changes, add this to the assistant, and at the end of the conversation, just as a failsafe, call the function conversation summary. I may also put important conversation. I probably don't need to do that. So we're going to save this. What I am going to do is go into automation. I am going to go to onboarding videos, activate SMS bot, and I am going to go through the whole prompt with my texting, because what we need to do is activate the tool first in order for it to send the first load of data to this custom tool before we can save the trigger. So I'm going to go into should work. Went through the conversation and the tool got called that I needed to be called. Once the tool gets called for the custom tool, you can either go through the entire prompt or just ask the bot to call the tool, say call the function conversation summary, and it'll send over the information that's needed. Although this will be blank, I went through the whole prompt to see how it would work, and it worked fine. This conversation summary, you want to save the trigger so that this stays active. Then I usually, instead of creating a new contact, I will find the contact, because our software will automatically send information and create a contact. So we'll do contact ID from the inbound webhook trigger. So to do that a little bit slower, you want to find the contact. You want to go contact ID, go to here. This is the data from the inbound webhook trigger. The inbound webhook trigger not only sends over, the argument of the parameter, so the conversation summary, but also a bunch of other information that you can parse through yourself. Select contact ID, so that will find the contact that you want to update, and then we're going to want to save this, create a custom field, folders, go to concrete. Now this is going to be a conversation summary, so it's going to want to be multi-line because it's most likely going to be a larger text field. Conversation summary. Save that. Now go back to your automation. Custom tool conversation summary. Update contact field. Conversation summary. Go to inbound webhook trigger. Arguments. This is where the parameters you have, and then conversation summary. Save that action. Publish, save, and now your webhook, now your custom tool is totally set up so that at the end of any conversation, the custom field will be filled in with a comprehensive conversation summary. Hope you guys found that useful. If you have any questions, make sure to reach out to the email support@leadindicator.com or go to the documentation where I have extensive videos about custom tools. I know they can be a little bit daunting, especially when you see the code of the mapping reference, but just make sure to follow the steps step by step. Create the tool, create the automation, set the description and the name, make sure that you paste in the endpoint URL, go through a conversation so that the tool has a chance to be called, select your mapping reference, and go through the automation of finding your contact, updating the contact field. In order to update a contact field must be, available. So you have to create a custom field, select the custom field, fill it in with the arguments from the inbound webhook trigger, and then you're done. Hope you found that useful. See you guys in the next video.